Is a Victory Monday if you are a Giant fan following the 23-16 victory over the Las Vegas Raiders on Sunday afternoon out at MetLife Stadium. And was it the prettiest thing? And we'll get into certainly the number of different layers to it, whether it be the offense and the defense was really, really special yesterday when they needed to be, thwarting the Raiders in red zone opportunities, generating the turnover late, Maggie. But really the simple question is this, is the Giants go into their bye week before they begin their second half of their schedule, and they are a 3-6 football team as we stand here following the 7-point victory over the Raiders yesterday. You know, are you rooting for success or are you rooting for failure? Similar conversation we had with the Yankees and Aaron Boone, where there were a lot of Yankee fans that are rooting for the demise of the Yankees not making it to the playoffs, so there would be wholesale changes after the season. Well, there were changes to the coaching staff, but Aaron Boone remains, and he gets a brand spanking new 3-year contract with an option for a fourth.
Right.
So if you are a Giant fan, as you look at, Dave Gettleman doing his thing in the front office and Joe Judge complaining about the headsets and, Jason Garrett in this offense, which should be a lot better statistically than it was. Patrick Graham has certainly turned the season around defensively. Are you rooting for this team to fail or are you rooting for this team to succeed? Because it is not out of the realm of possibility. And I get we're starving here in New York for football relevance.
Just say it.
It is not out of the realm of possibility, looking at the Giants' pathway, looking at who they have left, that the Giants, they could get to 9 wins this year. Mm-hmm. It is not inconceivable to think that they can get to 9 wins. I mean, they can easily get to 8 and finish the year at 8-9. It's not a great NFC when you look at it at the bottom rung. They'd be battling the Atlanta Falcons, who they lost to earlier in the regular season, a game that they should have won, Maggie. But not out of the realm of possibility when you look at what's in front of this team outside of the Buccaneers. And, they've got the Miami Dolphins, the Eagles on 2 occasions, another game against Washington, Dallas. I mean, the Giants can win some of these football games that are left on their schedule. So they won 2 of their last 3. You look at this team now, it's a scenario of, okay, if you're a Giant fan, are you rooting for this team to fail because you want to see massive changes and organizational shift with this organization? Or are you so starving that you'll take any degree of success and you're rooting for this team to make the playoffs?
Well, the Yankees is a good example because, and this is why every Giant fan should be rooting for the team to succeed, is because that big change may not come whether or not you make the playoffs and have a quick exit like the Yankees did or fall short. You are never guaranteed that big change is coming. And it's crazy to say it, but heading into their bye, as our friend Nick Costos would say, Moose, the Giants are alive for a playoff spot. That is crazy. That is crazy considering how bad this team has looked at times during this season. And you have to credit the defense 100%. They have played, not just yesterday, the last 3 games for the Giants, the defense has absolutely turned the corner. They're back, baby. Like, this is what we saw last year where they were able to be basically be the identity of the team. We were wondering, what's the identity of this Giants team? We thought maybe Daniel Jones. We're hoping it's Daniel Jones. What is this team going to be? They're certainly not buttoned up. They certainly have crazy penalties, costly penalties, all of that stuff. So what's the identity? It's the defense 100%. And I think you can lean in and believe in this defense. Okay, so if your defense is good, it will keep you in games. It will keep you in games. There is every reason for the Giants to lean into winning. And there's every reason for the fans to lean into it too. Because you have to hope that this team finally starts to show you something and pay off here. This is not a team that is actually looking at something easy when you look at the future either. Like, you're rooting for destruction, Moose. If you are one of those fans that wants this thing to crash and burn so that major changes come, well, can I just provide a little bit of a wake-up call? You are cap-strapped.
Yeah.
This is not like you can see some, way where the Giants can have all this flexibility and like next year could really. Where? When? You've got $3 million in cap space this year. You got $3 million in cap space next year. And it's not like you're going to, start getting and shedding all these big contracts? Hello, dead cap money? The Giants, we already went through this with the Giants, with the Odell Beckham signing and trading him and all the dead cap space. You got to hope and pray that this team starts to look good and starts to win games. This is it. They're all in.
No, they are all in, Maggie, but how many Giant fans believe in the brain trust that's there? Like, how much time, because there are a lot of Giant fans, and I'm not telling you that you should root for your team to lose. Last year I did if you were a Jet fan because, what was the point of trying to root for them to win?
Well,
because you were
the front office is trying to
looking
lose.
for
Why
Trevor
not get on
Lawrence.
board?
So you were trying to get the number 1 overall pick. You ended up landing with the number 2 spot, after a couple victories. So for the Giants, though, how many times we get calls from angry Giant fans looking at Gettleman, can't stand him, looking at Judge and some of the decisions they make during the course of the game, the rationalization that he gives you after the game. I'm sure we'll hear a number of Giant fans frustrated about Daniel Jones after he's 15 of 20 for 110 yards yesterday, even in a win against the Raiders, and looking at Jason Garrett. Patrick Graham, there's no shine off that star. He is an unbelievable coach, and this defense has gotten themselves into order and is playing ridiculously well, as you mentioned. But there's a lot of Giant fans that want to see, even though there's not great cap flexibility, even though they don't believe that this is the group that's going to get them there. Judge has, as you mentioned last week, oversold and underperformed from what you expected from a Giant head coach, what you thought there was going to be accountability, play clean, don't play sloppy, don't beat ourselves. The Giants have found new and interesting ways to lose games each and every week. Now, they didn't do that yesterday,
right?
But there are a number of Giant fans that say, well, what are we going to do if we make it there? And then they got to win a ton of games here in order to make it there. There's still 3 games under the 500 mark. We still have that dose of reality of where they stand. Yesterday might be a game that we look back on, but there are a number of Giant fans who will say, Maggie, let's not waste time here, because we're just going to be wasting another year, because I don't think this group is good enough to get this team to get to where we ultimately wanted to go. And that is not just making the playoffs on the outside periphery, but being a playoff team year in and year out.
Yeah, but look at all the moves they've made. They're showing you they do think this is the group. They do think that this could be the year. And when the Giants start off the season 0-3, it just basically put everyone in this negative hole. And so the way they've lost some of these games has just been brutal. So, of course, the fan base is going to be upset because you're sick of the losing and you don't want any more part of it. But I would just ask the Giant fan, in reality, how much change do you think is coming? I've been as critical about Dave Gettleman as anybody. I think he's going to be out at the end of the year, but I don't think Joe Judge is going to be out at the end of the year. I don't think the Giants want to show that they are I think they believe it would look unstable. It would look unstable to go through yet another coach and another coaching staff. So I'm trying to be realistic here. If Joe Judge is going to stay, and if Daniel Jones is going to get the fifth-year option picked up at the end of the year, then what are you changing? Right? You're going to keep your head coach. You're going to keep your quarterback. I'd hope you'd keep your defensive coordinator. That's obviously a no-brainer.
Well, he might go and be a head coach someplace else.
If he wants to be, I'm sure he'll get interviews and all of that. But it's how much change is realistically coming here at the end of the year?
No, I don't know.
I don't think it's going to be enough to have this sort of rebuild that everyone's hoping for. And financially, you're already so strapped.
But isn't it dependent on how it looks, too? It really is. Looks of it.
You think it's still up in the air about Daniel Jones?
If it looks really, really bad, maybe. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I think the Giants
start over with a young quarterback.
The Giants, I know for a fact, believe in Daniel Jones.
Right.
But could that change if he goes really, really south down the stretch of this season? If they only say they go rip off a losing streak to close the year, and they've got 3 wins now, they finished the year. They finished the year 4-13. I think all of a sudden now it's going to be, we believe still in everybody if it looks that ugly. And I don't think it's going to look that ugly because the Giants have shown you, they easily could have beat Kansas City. They should have beat Washington. They easily could have beat the Atlanta Falcons. You're going to look back on that, and what's going to really haunt you if you're a Giant fan is saying coulda, woulda, shoulda. We win, say, 2 of those 3 games. It looks decidedly different. We're looking at a team right now that is 5-4 instead of 3-6 and is looking really good. And everyone's talking about old-fashioned Giant pride on this Monday morning with that victory. As ugly as it was, you'll take the victory nonetheless. I really believe it depends on how it looks. I agree with you, but there are a lot of Giant fans that look at Jones, that look at Judge, that look at Gettleman, and are underwhelmed by what they have seen from all 3 of them and say, okay, I want this to look really, really bad. So it's a wake-up call for Tisch and for Mara to say, we've got to get this back in order. This is not the right group that's going to get us to where we want to go.
Yeah, I don't know if that wake-up call is coming, but I also think it's because there are winnable games here down the stretch. And you could have said that about the first part of the season. The Giants didn't take advantage, just like you articulated. But if the defense continues to play this well, there are winnable games. The massive question mark is going to be the offensive side of the ball, which is where you can make a change this week. You can make a change this week. We talk about like moments for franchises, Moose, and like forks in the road for franchises. And whether you're going to get aggressive, or you're going to play to win, or you're going to play not to lose. And I think that's what's as frustrating as anything for Giants fans. It's not even like, it's obviously the losing. I get that, and we're all not morons. But it's also this playing not to lose. You saw it even yesterday, game within a game, right? Giants come out firing on first down, passing the ball that ends up with this beautiful touchdown throw. Evan Ingram picking the ball out of the air, fighting a defender for it, gets into the end zone. It's like, whoa, okay, here we go. What happened the rest of the game? And I understand that the Raiders have a good pass rush. I get it. But they went away from everything they were doing. Like, there has to be a way, if Daniel Jones can get the ball out quickly, to keep the passing game involved.
I get it.
And I know they won yesterday, so like it's gonna I'm not saying that. I'm just saying like this offense could look so much better in my opinion. You have a fork in the road for the Giants. Take a swing. Change offensive coordinators. You got Freddie Kitchens there. Take a swing. Try to make the playoffs. What are we doing?
Yeah,
gonna spend the rest of the season just blah blah, and like you're gonna finish with a lot of regret. Take a swing. Take a chance.
Well, but if Judge knows what the offensive game plan is going in. The Giants went in there with full fear of the pass rush of the Raiders. They didn't want to get Jones, and they knew the offensive line was not going to be able to hold up. They did not fear the Raiders offensively without the speed of Henry Ruggs on the outside. That's why Deshaun Jackson is now a Las Vegas Raider.
Sure.
So they went into it and said, we can win this game on our defense and win this game ugly. We do not have to expose ourselves. If we expose and we have Daniel Jones doing 5 or 7 step dropbacks, we don't believe our offensive line is going to be able to hold up. Mm-hmm. We believe that he will be under duress. When he's under duress, as we have seen, he at times puts the ball on the turf. So I really look at it, that game, I'm more alarmed by the Chief game than I am by that game yesterday.
Okay, but
because I thought yesterday their mentality going into it was, we know the pathway to victory. It's not going to look pretty, but in the end, the result matters. We're going to get the W.
Okay, and they did. So you can say, all right, they were rewarded. They saw that the Raiders have a terrible rush defense, great pass rush, but can't stop the run. So they hand it to Booker, and he had, 99 yards or whatever rushing. Fantastic day for him. You could say the game plan works. You would just have an impossible time convincing me that even in a game like that, where the pass rush is feared and where your offensive line is not holding up because of injury to Andrew Thomas, et cetera, that Kadarius Toney would get one target. Come on. I mean, again, they won yesterday, but you got to be kidding me with that. That, you have Golladay, he's back, right? Even if he's still battling coming off of an injury, 2 targets. I mean, you do have some semblance of a pass game. I'm not saying it has to be the 5 to 7 step drops. I'm just saying, where's anything else? Where's the screen game? Where's anything? And they got by on just the run game. I'm taking it also a full account of the full first half of the season. The offense has been lagging severely. You have a chance. You have a chance now because your defense is giving you a chance. Somebody on the Giants, Joe Judge, has to have the conviction to say this offense is not good enough. Not good enough. And considering, yes, injuries, sure, but nobody can blame that when you still do have some of the weapons that you have. And you know what? We see coaches make up for offensive inefficiencies all the time. Like last night in LA, where the Titans went in without their best player and their whole offensive identity and went in and got a win.
Yeah, they also had a pick six.
They had a pick six.
And they also had an interception that put the ball at the 2-yard line.
Okay, they got some help from the defense.
Yeah, a little bit of help. I mean, they scored 28 points, and 14 points were scored by the defense.
But we give the Giants every pass in the world for not having their Saquon Barkley and without having Andrew Thomas and stuff like that. So we give them all the passes in the world. And the Giants had the pick six. They scored 16 points yesterday. The defense was great.
I thought yesterday was about approach. I thought the Chiefs game was about execution.
Do you think that like the difference I see is like, you just had a coaching staff that went in and said, we just lost our best player and our whole offensive identity, and they were able to win a game. Because other sides of the ball stepped up.
I understand it's a great win for Tennessee, but it's also a Titan team that is further advanced than where the Giants are. They have an extreme winning culture under Vrabel. That's where the Giants are looking to get. They find ways to win football games. and their defense has turned it around. So, yeah, I think it's an unbelievable win by the Tennessee Titans. I think you saw a little bit of a fraudulent game plan by McVay and the Los Angeles Rams. It's an unbelievable victory, but the defense has turned down in Tennessee as well. What once was a sieve is no longer the case for the Titans.
This was a team that lost to the New York Jets because they were missing their two best receivers.
Yeah, Marlboro, New Jersey we go.
Corners,
Bobby, what's going on, Bobby?
Hey, guys. How you doing? Good morning. Thank you for taking my call.
Hey, Bob.
What's up, Bobby?
So I just want to touch on Daniel Jones. And, that first drive, he went down the field because the offensive line was blocking. They did open some holes yesterday, but you see sometimes it's like a deer in the headlights. It's like Eli Manning in the last, 3-4 years just has no protection. It's like he doesn't even want to be back there. Mm-hmm. I think he can be good, but they got to block.
Yeah. I mean, pass blocking is a bigger thing than pass rushing.
Yeah, it's been an issue when you look at the offensive line. We said it weeks ago about the importance of Andrew Thomas. Hopefully he's back with this team after the bye week because they're a completely different offense with him at left tackle as compared to when he's not there. Babylon, Nick. What's going on, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know how you expect him to throw the ball to Tony when you got Ngakoue and Crosby blowing by Solder and Pert like the traffic cones. But the guy's got 2 seconds to throw the ball, and he's on his ass.
Yeah, I know, but that's life in the NFL.
You know what? Every time the Giants lose, you guys spend 4 hours of the show blasting them from beginning to the end. You don't talk about anything else. They got a good win. They played a good team, and they beat them.
I know, Nick. We just said they're live for the playoffs.
What?
We just said they're live for the playoffs.
That's
how
the
positive.
Whole segment ripping them.
Nick, you're hearing what you want to hear. We just said that they're live for the playoffs, and I'm asking them for them to be more aggressive.
Nick, Maggie's talking about firing the offensive coordinator and Garrett and giving Freddie Kitchens an opportunity because the offense can be better than what it is. That's fair, and it's a fair criticism when you look at Jason Garrett. You talk about the positives of Patrick Graham and the defense, and they went into the game yesterday, looking to win a game ugly, and they won that game ugly. Fairfield, Andrew. What's up, Andrew?
Hey, guys. Thanks. Maggie, to your point earlier about, fans coming out and do you root for the Giants or no? Every time that the game kicks off, especially as a season ticket holder, I root for the fans that are in the stadium to have a good game. But on the other side of it, this is kind of what Gettleman wants. 2 weeks ago, I think if you painted a picture of Monday morning after the trade deadline, he would get a win like this. And I think he didn't trade anybody, and he should have, to your point on the cap space, because we don't have any room. But he didn't because what he's fighting for is another job in the NFL, whether it's with the Giants or elsewhere. So it really gets in the way. And puts us in the same spot where last year we thought we had hope towards the end of the year, and then we came out, 0-4 to start this season. It's tough as a Giants fan, but I hate the back and forth and the one day happy and the one day mad. But I'll go and let you guys talk. Thanks.
Yeah, Andrew, appreciate it. I think it's for Gettleman. I don't know if he's looking for a job someplace else.
He never thought he'd get a job after Carolina.
I think this is it for Gettleman as an executive in the National Football League. But I also think if the Giants are a playoff team or in contention, I think there'd be a cause for Dave Gettleman to return in the current position that he is in. That there's not going to be those wholesale changes. See, that's the tricky thing. When you look at the coaching staff, that's really, as Maggie's, and mentioned a couple weeks ago about Garrett, and you look at the offense this year, and everyone can look at the injuries. The offense should be better than what it is. Should be a lot more productive than what it is. There should be an evolution to what this team is offensively. Yesterday, I don't look at it yesterday as my prime example. I look at it as more as the Chief game, but it's still an example nonetheless. And that really falls on Judge. That really falls because he handles the staff. This is not John Mara or Dave Gettleman saying that we're going to move on us from offensive coordinators. The Giant coach handles the staff. So if Joe Judge feels that Freddie Kitchens would do a better job, if you're going to do anything, now would be the time with the bye week.
877-337-6666. So after the win yesterday, now the Giants are 3-6 going into the bye. As we said, they're live for the playoffs. Shockingly,
they're live.
This is where they are, right? And so there is some positive momentum here.
It was nice to see the Giants defense play well.
Oh, it was great.
It was great. It was nice to see them forcing a big turnover late. It was nice to see the McKinney pick six. It was nice to see the Giants and McKinney the other. I mean, it was just It was a good defensive effort, a great defensive effort. Patrick Graham, who, I was on board as a huge kind of fan of last year, Maggie, as everyone was. But, the Giants defense really struggled early on here. They simplified things, as Logan Ryan talked about, and defense was great yesterday.
We talked over and over with Carl Banks, who's going to join us in the next hour, by the way, around 11:30 or so, talking about the guys who have to start playing up to the contracts, especially on the defensive side. Man, have they. Leonard Williams with the big contract is playing well. Adoree Jackson is playing well. Logan Ryan is playing well. I mean, James Bradbury is playing better. They definitely have turned something on. And you know what? I thought it was really, for Dave Gettleman, it's funny because you're a general manager, you're going to have your wins and losses, and you have Ojulari's been good. Obviously, McKinney comes up with 2 big interceptions yesterday and a pick 6, but O'Shane Zimenez, inactive. It's just like crazy. It's crazy.
No, he's inactive, but I'm sure he was smiling as the Browns, without Odell Beckham Jr., basically roasted the Cincinnati Bengals.